Folks, it is a great day on So Bad It's Good. We fell in love with our next guest, of course, as Aaron Samuels in Mean Girls. But since then, he has done everything in his career. And I've got to tell you about four amazing things this man is involved in. I mean, he is the busiest man in Hollywood at this point. We have Hallmark Plus's The Groomsman, a trilogy. We're talking
Yeah.
three films. It is the godfather of feel-good romantic comedies. But also, on top of these films, which we'll talk about, he also has a new competition series on Hallmark Plus premiering October 31st that is going to blow you away. It's called Finding Mr. Christmas, where contestants are able to compete in a series of holiday theme events and games that will eventually lead them to be able to be a star in a Hallmark Plus movie. Ladies and gentlemen, we have actor, producer, writer extraordinaire Jonathan Bennett. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I love those accolades. Like, can you say that to me every morning before when I wake up, just to remind me of how much work I've done in the past year, two and a half years?
Well, Jonathan, that's what I was saying. I mean, like, how do you keep your head above water? Because the amount of output you've done just in this month alone,
Yeah.
most actors couldn't do in a 5-year span.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. It's well, we also forgot we're in season 14 of Halloween Wars on Food Network, which is also airing. So that's happening at the same time.
Oh my God.
It's I sat down this morning and I have my stylist and my makeup artist here, and they're like, "Hey, we have your looks for next week for those events." And I literally looked at them and I said, "What events?" Because I can't keep up with it. They just basically say, "Hey, your pickup time is this," and I show up, and then I learn what I'm going to do that day in the moment. And it's one of those blessings that like I'm exhausted. I
Yeah.
barely sleep, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like what a fun time for Hollywood, and what a fun time to like be able to be involved in this many projects and having this much fun doing them, and also fun projects that make people happy. So it's like it's just I feel so grateful. I just
Well,
feel so grateful.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. How cool that you get to be a part of all of these things that kind of make us feel good, especially in the period of time that we're in now. The Groomsman trilogy, which I wanted to point out to the audience, those are three films. You've got the Groomsman First Look, the
Yep.
Groomsman Second Chances, which focuses on your character Danny,
Yep.
and then the Groomsman The Last Dance, which I've
Yeah.
seen it. So The Last Dance isn't sad, folks. It doesn't mean that's like everybody
Yeah,
goes away.
it's not like last dance for romance. We should have used that song as our song for the movie. Gosh, I
It's
missed
not.
that opportunity.
It's not too late. I have a feeling there's going to be three more Groomsman films, so I
We
think.
have a feeling there's going to be three more as well. We're excited for the next three.
Well, the thing, Jonathan and I was thinking about, especially when I was watching the second film, which is really centered around your character
Yeah.
and your romance, is that I've watched so much TV, and then even 15 minutes before the end I was like, is it going to work out for Danny? Is it going to work? Is he going to be able to convince? Like, are they going to be able to find love? And I think you always know with these films, there's a happy ending, but
Right.
it is still like this is actually a cut above a lot of these films. And I was wondering,
Thank
since
you.
you produced all three of
Yeah.
these, how do you conceive of this? How does this come to pass? Like, how hard was it to get this into production?
Um, Hard and easy at the same time. First of all, thank you so much for calling the groomsman the godfather of these movies, because that's what we feel it is. We feel like
Yes.
it just vibrates at a different level, and it just is very epic and grand, and it just feels bigger, right? And
Yeah.
so to get these movies made, it was a little tricky because I basically went to Hallmark and I was like, hey, what if we did The Hangover for Hallmark? And they looked at me like I was nuts. And then I was like, I think we can do it. And the more we dove into it and explained it, the more we realized it was a great idea. And, for me, I was the groomsman in like so many of my best friends' weddings over the past 10 years. And I got married 2 years ago, and I had those same friends as my groomsmen. So it was really a story that I wanted to tell because I thought there was a really interesting dynamic and an interesting storyline between like that male squad of friends, that best group of male friends that are there for each other and support each other, but they also kind of take the piss out of each other, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what a male group of friends does. And I thought that was really refreshing and different and something we hadn't seen before, where you can like watch them kind of make fun of each other and tease each other because that's what the guys do, right? That's
Yeah.
that's what happens. And so that was something I thought was really interesting as I was going through my own wedding journey and through my other friend's wedding journey. I was like, this like bachelor party type like concept that we're all involved in, that's a fun movie and that's a great way to tell a story. And I also think it's interesting, not for two reasons. I think it's a double-edged sword for the viewers. I think we have you're kind of pulling the veil back for the female audience on showing like what do the
Yeah.
guys talk about on the guys weekend, what do they what do they say on the bachelor party, what are their conversations, are they talking about their feelings, are they not, like
Well, it's like
things like
Sex
that.
in the City for
Yeah,
guys, in a
that's
sense.
what, yeah, Tyler Hines said. It's literally Sex in the City for guys. And so you still have that, and but it's also told through a female point of view. So we have this narrator throughout the thing that's kind of telling it from her point of view as well. So it's not like it's a guy buddy comedy. It's
No,
still
no,
a
no, no.
romantic comedy, but it just has different layers that we really haven't seen. And I thought it was really interesting. And apparently Hallmark did too, because they gave us the money to do it and we shot it. And
Well,
it
and
was
you shot in Greece, Italy, Bulgaria.
yeah,
This isn't just on a soundstage pretending you're in these
no.
locations. You went to these locations.
If we were going to do it, it needed to be epic. And we wanted to make the epic love stories feel epic. And so we needed to have backgrounds that felt aspirational. And so we picked Greece and Italy and Bulgaria to be kind of our characters in the movie. And yeah, it's just, it's such a special thing, this friendship between these guys. And I think the audience, I mean, from our response so far online, each movie's gotten such a warm response from the fans, and we're so grateful because I mean we're trending on Twitter every time they drop. Like the fans are really going hard and falling in love with Danny, Zach, and Pete, which is what we
Yep.
hope. We were like, we want them to fall in love with these three musketeers. We want them to, when these movies are over, say, what are the boys going to get up to next? What trouble are they going to get into next? And that's exactly the response we're getting. So we're very grateful.
You grew up in Ohio, I think, right?
Toledo, Ohio. I grow
So,
up with like an Applebee's and a Chili's in my backyard. That was
I
my
grew up in
childhood.
Kansas. That was the
Oh
exact same. Like,
yes.
so I was just wondering, like, how did you ever even fathom? I mean, I didn't know if you were always a dreamer, even as a kid, that you
Mhm.
would be sitting here talking to me at this point. Like, I mean, no, but could you have ever imagined producing, acting in three
No.
films? You've got your hosting, you've done
Yeah.
everything in your career. And I just wondered, like, man, if you could talk to that kid in Toledo, what would you tell him at this point?
Oh, I would say, Jonathan, just be you right now. Because it took me about 12 years in the business to really like come to terms with like who I was and be unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
And had I done that earlier, I think I would have been able to accomplish even more. But I also am happy the way it all worked out because I was able to learn and grow and like learn about myself and learn things in the about the industry. And then when I decided to just live my unapologetic truth to the world, everything blossoms. Like I was
Yeah.
scared. I was scared of being out in Hollywood because when I started acting and was like a teen heartthrob in Mean Girls,
Yeah.
like it was a different time. It was a different
Yeah.
time in the world. And so I I'm happy that it happened how it did, but like looking back, I would say just be you, because when I think with all actors, and this is what I tell the guys on Finding Mr. Christmas, like just be you because you do you better than anyone else. And like no one can do what you do, so don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Just do you, and that is when people will be able to gravitate towards you, to be able to connect with you. And so I think that's like my biggest thing. I would
And I
tell
think
him
that's
just
why
like,
you're finding like the greatest success of your career right now. And after watching these films, I was like, man, I cannot wait to see what you have cooking next because I
oh,
mean,
we've
this
got
relation.
bigger things coming, and like we have something in that just got greenlit into development that is insane, and I can't believe
Jonathan,
that
it would be
we're gonna
huge
do
for my
it.
show if you just told me what that
I
is now.
It
If
is
you just
so
told me
big
what it
that
is now.
I can't tell you because it is so big, but it is so good, and I cannot wait for it to happen.
Well, I'm excited for that already. And I did want to point out to what you were just talking about is that in terms of representation, you really are an icon, especially in Hallmark, the Hallmark world,
Uh-huh.
especially. You had the first same sex kiss on the Hallmark channel in
Yeah.
2020. And you really have made that, fought for the
Oh,
normalization and telling these stories.
yeah.
And what I thought was so beautiful about Second Chances, this is just a romantic story like any other romantic
Yeah.
story. We don't this is just like anything else, which is what it actually is. And I think
Hmm.
that's what the beautiful part of this is. It's not like, hitting you over the head. It's just people living their lives and falling in love like we all do. And I think
Oh,
you are responsible for a lot of that. And I think that is such a badge of honor you should be wearing
thank you.
every day of your life. Because I was talking to my friend Dusty, who I grew up with, who's a gay man, and you are so important in these circles. And I and
Aw,
and then on top of it, you're just a fantastic actor and a host. Sorry to keep
thank you.
kissing your butt, but it really
No,
is.
I'll take it. I'm an only child gay actor. I love attention. Tell me more.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're just
I
great, man. Yeah.
thank you. It was fun to be able to do the first same-sex kiss in a Christmas movie, not just for Hallmark, but it was the first same-sex kiss in a Christmas movie ever. So that
Yeah.
was a huge deal. And then we went on and created The Holiday Sitter, which was the first same-sex relationship led rom-com where it was just the A storyline and that was it, just like all the other rom-coms. And then here we are with Groomsmen Second Chances having the first ever same-sex wedding on Hallmark Channel. And I think what has been our driving force for me is the first time I did the Christmas House and for Hallmark, and we did that storyline that had our same-sex kiss. The response from the people watching was so powerful and great, um, and important that it made me realize my destiny and what my life was meant to be in Hollywood. And my life is to tell LGBTQ plus love stories for a broad audience. And I think
Yeah.
there's a big difference in telling stories like this for a broad audience versus a niche audience. I always say like RuPaul's Drag Race, if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, you're already part of the fam.
Yeah.
You're in on it. You're a supporter. We got you. You've got our back. For the people that don't maybe know a queer person or don't have a lot of queer people in their life, my job is to tell love stories to those people. So that way, maybe they can feel seen. And also, maybe people watching, it can change some hearts and minds. And I think what's so powerful about the movies we've done at Hallmark is that our kind of baseline when we're telling these stories and creating these scripts is that it's not a gay Christmas movie. It's not a gay wedding. It's just a Christmas movie and a wedding movie where the main actors and lead characters happen to be gay.
Yeah.
And there's a big
Exactly.
difference there. It just is. It's not a thing. It just is. And it's a normal thing. So when we normalize that, which should be normalized, you you break down the audience's guard because now they're not thinking about it. They're just watching the humanity of these people. And when you watch the humanity of the characters, you're able to connect with the people that you're watching. And I think that's our kind of like secret
Yeah.
sauce in telling these
Well,
stories.
and just like Danny, your character at a batting cage, you hit it out of the park. You you,
Oh,
you
thank
did
you.
it.
First time I ever batted in my life was in that scene. So that was like the thing I was most nervous about because I'm like, I wanted to write Danny as a character that had for the most part, heteronormative job that you would not tend to see a gay character be in a movie, right? I've played a ton of gay characters. We're always like a fashion designer
Yeah.
or, a social media manager, things that are very stereotypical. I was like, what's the like thing that we never see? Well, we never see a pro baseball player as a gay
Yeah.
character in the movie. So let's make him that, something that's completely the opposite of what we're used to seeing. And I didn't think about it until we got to set that day where I was like, oh crap, now I have to play baseball. I've never played baseball in my life, but all I needed to do was look good for 2 shots and we did it. And you know what? Fake it till you make it. It was like
What
when I
did
was in,
wait? Have you ever done a rock climbing wall? I mean, you have a rock climbing wall in this
no,
too.
I've never done a rock climbing wall in my life, but I was actually really good at it. And I beat Tyler and BJ and Alex at rock climbing. So I was very happy about that. But like, it's not even like it's just it's just such a fun time to be involved with Hallmark and telling
Well,
these stories because the fans are just reacting so positively and so warm. And I think what it does is a proof of concept. Like Groomsmen Second Chances was aired yesterday on Hallmark Plus, and it is an LGBTQ plus led storyline. And the fan reaction was just as strong, and the trending on Twitter was just as strong as when we released the first movie that had a straight storyline. So it goes to show that as long as you tell the stories correctly, the fans are in on it and they want
yeah.
more and they love it.
And by the way, folks, you can catch up on all these movies streaming on Hallmark Plus because don't feel bad if you haven't seen the first two. You can catch up on those before The
Yep.
Last Dance premieres. And I was talking, just thinking about your relationship with Hallmark and Hallmark Plus, and what a special relationship it has turned out to be.
Mhm.
What do you think it is about Hallmark that is really championing all of these stories? Because also we're now headed into the holiday season, and Hallmark pretty much has a stamp on that. Like once the holiday hits, like people, my friends are like, gotta watch this Hallmark movie. It's like a 31 days of holiday
Yeah.
joy and cheer and stories. What do you love about being with Hallmark?
Well, there's I think there's no better company to work for than Hallmark Channel because they've created this sandbox that everyone loves and respects as far as like movie making. And so as long as you know the perimeters of the sandbox, you're basically free to create as like a producer and writer and actor and director that I am. Like I'm able to create stories in the sandbox however I want, as long as I stay within the parameters. They're like, if you play in here, you can go create. And because the parameters are things that are tested and time and time again of what the audience wants. So we want to have certain tropes in it. We want to have a happy ending because the audience comes to us to escape. And I think the reason the audience responds so well to these movies is because I mean, I'm weird. I fall asleep listening to murder documentaries. That's like how me and my husband fall asleep because we watch true crime because we know at the end of the episode, they're going to catch the killer, right?
Well,
They're
I
going
hate
to,
when they don't. If they
yeah.
don't, it really
eh,
bums me out. Yeah.
I know. So like we watch the ones where we know what's going to happen. So what that does is as a viewer, it takes your anxiety out of the viewing experience, right? So like you're watching these movies and it's going to end with a happy ending. So now you don't have this anxiety watching it of like what's going to happen. There's a comfort in knowing it's all going to work out. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to hear in life with everything everyone's going through is it's all going to work out. And
Yeah.
I think that's why they're so popular.
Before we move on to Finding Mr. Christmas, just a couple more things about the groomsmen is that when you write and conceive of these things, and then when you cast it, I mean, the relationships you have with the other groomsmen in this, it's very strong. These do feel like old friends. I mean, I know a
Yeah.
lot of people out there aren't actors, so they don't know how you can kind of form these close bonds where it makes it seem like, man, these guys have been hanging out for decades now.
Yeah.
How do you, as an actor, form these relationships? I know you've known some of these men already, but like, how do you go about this for a trilogy where you are going to be working with each other for months and months at a time?
I mean, you can call it a God wink, you can call it a miracle. I don't know what you want to call it, but I just call it luck because we didn't know. Tyler Hines and I produced these together with our producing partner Ryan M. Murphy. We
And
created
Tyler's
these.
in it as well, folks.
Tyler
Tyler's an
Tyler
actor in
Hines
this as
is
well.
one of the groomsmen. We created it, and I've known Tyler forever, and we have from just doing Hallmark movies, and we have such a good rapport and such a good chemistry that I was like, oh, let's create these together because you're definitely a Jackson character, like that's you. And we were looking for our third groomsman, and we didn't know who it was going to be. And then they recommended BJ Britt, and it was like a no-brainer. It's like, of course, BJ. Like he's the he's got more energy than me and has a brighter light than anyone in the room. And it was just a miracle that like we all came together and formed this amazing bond that you see on camera. Like I wish there was something where like, yeah, we went camping ahead of time. We went and did this. We didn't. We literally showed up the first day of filming and had dinner the night before. And from that first dinner, it just clicked. And as an actor, if you get a relationship like that you get to play off camera, on camera, if you get one like that in your career, you're lucky. Like the fact that we got to do this for 3 movies with this group of guys, it's just a miracle. Like it doesn't happen all the time. And I wish there was some magic story to it, but it was just luck. And it was just everyone fit exactly how they were supposed to fit.
I like how you said Godwink. I think that's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Do you stay in? I mean, the other thing, I talk to a lot of reality stars, which we'll talk about Finding Mr. Christmas in a second because it's a reality competition series in a sense. But do you have a text thread with the other groomsmen going,
Do we
whoa,
have a text
the
thread?
reception's
Are you
amazing.
kidding? The text thread between the groomsmen is out of this world. Like we text 100 times a day. Like we're obsessed with each other. Like we can't, like if we haven't seen each other in a couple days, your FaceTime blows up and it's both of them on the FaceTime being like, what are you doing, big boy? Hey, like it's just it's just magic. Like we
Yeah.
our group chat, and all we talk about in the group chat right now is how grateful we are for the response of all of the fans and their response to these movies. We're just blown away and in awe of it. So it's just sending like what people are posting. So if you're out there posting and you're commenting, you're doing stuff, we see you. We're looking at it all, and we're so grateful.
Um, so that brings us then to Finding Mr. Christmas, which premieres on October 31st. So you can watch The Last Dance and then you can immediately watch
Yep.
Finding Mr. Christmas. And this idea, I got to tell you, I was like, oh, what is this going to be like? And I watched the first episode and I was telling the publicist, I was like, I really kind of want to see where this journey ends because you guys, it's wild. 10 people that are wanting to be actors from all different, like, different parts of life. One's a firefighter. One actually was an actor. They're all different age ranges and they all get put in this house like we always see as a trope on reality shows. And they are competing for a role in a Hallmark holiday film. And I got to tell you, just from the moment they start getting in the door, I was laughing. There was emotions involved. Jonathan, how did you come up with this idea? Because I think it's kind of genius.
Thank you so much. I think it's really genius. I'm very proud of this idea. Doesn't it remind you of like The Bachelor when you're watching the first episode with everyone walking in? It looks like The Bachelor. Like I think Finding Mr. Christmas is probably the most high level thing that Hallmark has ever done. And I think the response is so strong because people see it and they go, this is Hallmark? Doesn't feel like Hallmark. It feels like something even more just kind of, I don't want to say elevated. It just seems more modern than anything they've ever done. And I
Yeah.
think what's so great about that is, I came up with the concept because there are so many actor friends of mine that always ask, how do I get in the Hallmark movies? How do I get in the Hallmark movies? Hey, bro, can you like talk to your people at Hallmark? Can I get like an audition? Hey, let's see if can I get one of those movies? And I started thinking with my co-creator, Ben Roy, we started chatting and I was like, what if we made a competition show and let the audience in on the process of finding the next Hallmark star? And it was kind of a no-brainer once we came up with that. It just all the show kind of just filled in on its own. Like it became so easy to like understand and create once we understood what the show was. And
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about it is we have I talked about the sandbox of Hallmark. We know what these movies are, and each of these movies have certain tropes that we've all come to know and love.
Yeah.
So we took all the tropes, the meet cute, the apology, the crying scene, the kiss under the mistletoe. We've taken all those tropes and found a way to gamify them and actually put these 10 unknown actor hunks through different challenges based on these tropes. And so the audience can watch them rise and fall and rise and fall and have comebacks throughout all the episodes until one by one we eliminate them each episode. And our winner who's left standing is crowned Mr. Christmas. And then he gets the lead role of a Hallmark holiday movie that comes out the following week. So you get instant gratification.
It's called Happy Holidays. Is
Happy
that right?
Holidays. Yes.
HOWL. So
Because
Happy
there's
Holidays.
dogs.
Yeah,
Yes.
December 21st, that comes out. And I'm like, this is kind of a really unique. And like you said, it's like The Bachelorette, except The Bachelorette is a Hallmark movie. They're all winning
Right.
to try to find the love of being in a Hallmark movie.
Yes.
And it's just, even from the moment they, like I said, when they hit the doors, they start finding out to each other's, like one's the oldest man there. And he's like, oh my God, this guy's 15 years younger than I am. So they're insecure about these things that you normally, like just kind of real life. And then in the episode that I saw, and this is coming from an acting background I had, which was so hard, was you make them do cold reading from a Hallmark holiday scene with a real professional Hallmark actress. And that was even wild because you guys are back there on the monitors going, ooh, look at the chemistry, or oh my gosh, they're able to improv a little bit here. And it was so great to watch that and to watch how it threw certain actors and some of them kind of rose to the occasion completely.
Yeah, it's, what's so special about this is that we're putting them in scenes with real Hallmark stars having to do acting challenges with the real deal. So it really is the only place you'll see a show like this where it's like we're actually watching them. We're throwing them into the fire, basically being like, can you stand up to this? Can you handle yourself in these situations? Because as a Hallmark actor, everything they're doing is something we have to do, right? There's a photo shoot challenge. There's a press challenge. Like all the things we have to do.
Is there a kiss challenge? There's got to be a kiss challenge.
There is.
Yeah.
Of course, like there's of course there's a kiss challenge. It's like all the things we have to do, we found a way to like put them through the challenges. So by default and by definition of what those challenges are and what the show is, by the time we get to our winner, he has passed every Hallmark staple challenge that the actors have to do. So he should be, in all accounts, ready to be put in, coach. Like he's done
Yeah.
it all, he's proven himself.
And I love when you walk in. I mean, you are king around these parts. They all know Jonathan Bennett. They're like, "Whoa, Jonathan Bennett's here!" And because you've done so many of these things, and you've had the career you've had, but it's white, like they light up like a Christmas tree when you walk in. And then I just thought, how weird is that for you? All of a sudden, almost mentoring new people that you've
Oh,
been in the business for decades, doing what you've
yeah.
done. Like, were you just sensing extreme fear, excitement? What was that like going in
Oh,
there and sensing all that energy?
it was absolute pure heaven to walk in because our guys are so wonderful. When we're looking for the Hallmark star, we're thinking, what are the characteristics of a Hallmark leading man? What do they have, and what are we looking for? Well, they have to have a good sense of humor. They have to have wit. They have to have charm coming out of their ears. They've got to have a wonderful sense of self. They have to be kind. And above all, they have to have a huge heart. So, and of course, they've got to have great teeth and look good in a Christmas sweater because
And
that's part of the
abs,
deal.
potentially
Yeah, they've
abs,
got to
you
have
said,
abs
yeah.
and look good in a Christmas sweater, but that's the fun of it. But like, even though we have these beautiful, beautiful guys competing, at first you see them and go, whoa. And then you get to know them and you're like, wow, these dudes are awesome. And the to walk in and be able to turn around as someone that's having a lot of success on the network and having a lot of success in Hollywood for 25 years, I think there's nothing more important than when I'm in that position to turn around and reach my hand and bring other people with me. Because the thing that I've learned in this business, which I also instilled in the guys, is I don't shine if you don't shine. And it doesn't matter how good I'm doing. If the people around me aren't doing well, we need the rising tide to float all ships. And that's what they did. And what's so fun is like getting to use all my experience and knowledge that I've had doing this forever and help teach other people how to do it so that way they can come in and have a seat at the holiday table because there's plenty of pie for everyone, right? There's plenty. And it's almost it makes me a better actor, it makes me a better producer, it makes me a better person. The more I help them figure out how to do this, I learn things about myself and learn things about the business from teaching them. So I'm like, wow, I never thought of it that way, but you might be right. And it's just such a blessing. And I think the interesting part that we weren't expecting on the show is that 10 guys walk in competitors, but they leave a family,
Yeah.
just like a Hallmark movie. And you would think in a competition show, they're going to be, stabbing each other in the back and trying to like rise above each other, but they don't. They
It's not the Real
literally,
Housewives. It's not the Real Housewives. Yeah.
we did it from the beginning. We're like, hey, I talked to them all before it started and I said, hey, or not before it started, but after we did our first episode, and I said, hey, you guys support each other. The more you help each other, the better everyone's going to be. And they did that. And they almost got more emotional about one of the other guys leaving than about them leaving. They're like, hey, take me. Like he can stay. I'll leave. And it's like, well, that's not how the competition works. But like the fact that they love each other so much and form this brotherhood. And let's talk about something else that's really interesting. The fact that you have grown men who are extremely hunky on camera being courageous enough to share parts of their life that might be a little crunchy, that might be a little scary, that might have some sort of feeling about it. They're able to share those parts of their lives with each other and open up. And when they do that, someone else in the room says, oh, I've felt that before. I'm scared about this. Oh, I've been scared about that. So what's really magical, what we didn't expect, and we're so grateful it happened, is that the guys had the courage and vulnerability to go on national television and talk about the crunchy parts of their life, which then hopefully the viewer is able to relate to and see not only who they are, but maybe that sparks a conversation for the, hunky
Yeah.
guys watching the show that might not normally talk about those things. So it really does open the door for other people to have conversations.
No, I mean, I have to tell you, like, and I think my audience is going to love this, especially because not only is it's hysterically funny, but like you
Yeah.
said, it does have those moments. And I
It's
like
got
that you
heart.
say yeah, crunchy, but like I said earlier, it's like I feel like a lot of the work you're involved in, it represents this kind of hope, almost this Jimmy Stewart-esque kind of hope that we
Uh,
don't get to see a lot these days. And I was just, the more you talk, and I don't know you personally, but are you always the center dude? Like you seem like you are just this solid, good person that is trying to grow and learn and be better, but also trying to help other people and pull them along for the ride with you. You can see that in The Groomsman, and you can definitely see that in Finding Mr. Christmas. How long has it taken you to get to this point where it kind of like, we want to bet on you?
that's very kind. Thank you. Um, I wasn't always like this. It was, it's 43. Don't tell my age.
No,
43 years
33,
of life
33.
experience, I think, that got me to here. Like, I couldn't have done these shows and these movies 10 years ago because I didn't know who I was. And I have found who I am, and I got married to an amazing man, James, and we've been married 2 years. And I think that part of my life and like really like understanding who I am and finding the love of my life and like getting married really like grounded me and
It
like
provides you to the foundation in
yeah,
which you can go do
I
this.
couldn't have done any of this stuff without my husband because when I wake up at 3 a.m. with crazy ideas for the show, oh my God, there's a challenge. We have to cover them in hot chocolate and roll them down a hill. Like all these wacky ideas that flood my brain. He's been my bounce board and my springboard to like do all this with. And so it's very kind for you to say that. It's been a journey to get here. I'm very proud to be here, but it's not always like this.
Yeah.
Life is messy. And I think with movies like The Groomsman, we're showing the messiness of life. So I'm able to pull from all those things. Like groups of friendships are messy. And, auditioning and trying to be the next actor in Hollywood, it's messy and it's crunchy. And so I've been through all that stuff. So I've learned so much from that I've been able to take that and then dump it back on the people that
Yeah.
that are telling these stories and working here.
It's much needed at this time in life, I think. So this is all just great. But I was thinking also of just the different hats and tool belt that you have at this
Yeah.
point, from the acting to the writing to the producing. What is that different tool belt for you to go from an actor to a host? Because, like you said, you host a bunch of different things at this point. You are hosting Finding Mr. Christmas as well as producing. What is that different muscle that you turn on when you host as opposed to being an actor playing a character?
So funny you say that because I find it to be the exact opposite. I find that what has worked for me, and it doesn't work for everyone, but I want to say Jay Leno said this. You can fact check it. I don't know if it was Jay Leno. It was a late night talk show host said, if you can get paid to be yourself, you'll never not work a day in your life. And I think that is so powerful and so true. Like when I play the groomsman character of Danny, when I play, Sam in The Holiday Sitter, when I'm hosting Food Network, when I'm hosting Finding Mr. Christmas, I'm never not Jonathan. I'm not an actor that like there's some actors strip everything away and want to like be this new person. I have found that the more myself I am, the more the audience relates to me and connects with me and has a great relationship with my character, but they're really just having a relationship with me. So I don't really do anything from hosting to acting. I'm just Jonathan saying Danny's lines, or I'm hosting a show doing Jonathan reading the teleprompter. So just like if you can just do you and just all the sides of you can just bring to your work, I think you end up getting a lot of success. And I think it works because people are like, we turn on because we just like the fans will say, like, we just want to see you be you. Like,
Yeah.
just go be Jonathan. Just do all your like zany, wacky, stupid stuff you do. That's what we're watching for. And so if I take too much of that away, the fans are like, why aren't you doing your big eyes? Like, do your big eye thing. Like, and that's just like what you do. So I think it's just about like learning to just take yourself and then paint some layers of the character over that to give it a little, to give it a specific specificity for that role. But other than that, I'm just myself and everything. I just play
Yeah.
me.
Well, I mean, that's I always call I think of you like as a reliable narrator. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
trust you, but like there's that Jimmy Stewart, Tom Hanks quality
Thank
about
you.
you that I'm like, oh yeah, we'll go on any journey with you because you are yourself.
Thank
And
you.
I mean, when I was an actor back in the day, you know, I had a teacher, I think Leslie Kahn, that always
Oh
been
yeah,
like,
she's my teacher
hey,
too.
yes, yes, she would always be just like, you know, your special sauce, whatever you can bring to the table that is uniquely you, which is what you're telling these men in Finding Mr. Christmas.
Do you know what's so funny? Let's talk about Leslie Kahn for a second. Leslie Kahn is the reason that I'm able to do what I do in these movies because I went to her when I was still trying to find my footing of like who I am in Hollywood. And it was before I had come out publicly. I went to her and I was a mess. I was broken. I was a mess. I didn't know, up from down. I was just like trying to figure it out. And we sat down to coach an audition. And I was like, okay, the character's this and he's straight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, when I go in, like, when I do this, I don't want to be too gay. Like, I don't want to sound like this. Like, do I look like I'd be gay? Blah, blah, blah. And I went on this whole monologue about being afraid to like play this character. And she just listened and watched. And she goes, okay. And I was done. She goes, what are you doing? Like, just walk in the room and who cares if he's gay or straight? Just say these lines and be you. That's what you
Yeah.
have to do. Like, you don't even know who you are. So, how can you know who this guy is? Like, just walk in the room, be yourself, and bring your sauce, and then paint some layers of this character over it. But you don't got to strip away everything you are to become a character for a show. Like, who you are is the character. And it was like that aha moment where it literally changed everything in my acting.
Yeah, and now you get to bring those aha moments
Yes.
to these 10 dudes.
Yes.
But like I want to point out, this is a hysterically funny thing. Like I am going to be adding this to my DVR because I really want to find like we were already betting last night watching like who's gonna be the final dude.
Do
We
you
were like,
have a
because
favorite? Just name a favorite.
okay, well, right now I
Who are your favorites?
well, right now Elijah.
Okay.
And then Daxon was had
Yep.
some moment. I mean, listen, these are all good guys, but I will say one of the funnier moments in the first episode was watching the guys react because a lot of them are not actors to finding out that one of the men, I'm not going to reveal who, was in Hamilton for 3 years, which is like one of the biggest things that you could ever be in ever. And
Yeah.
you should see like people just crestfallen of like, oh God, we're competing against somebody that was on Hamilton, like the biggest musical of all time. And
Yep.
it was such a great moment. But I got to tell you, there's not one that I'm rooting against. There's one, the fireman, he's intense. He's bringing a different experience. So it's going to be interesting to watch his
Well, he's a
journey,
fireman.
especially.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and
Exactly.
you make an ugly sweater
Yeah.
Christmas challenge in the first one, and that was actually fascinating as well. I mean, you guys do all the reality show tropes in such a great way and put a real different spin on it. So I highly applaud it. But at the same time, I'm like, tell me who wins, Jonathan. I got to know where this go. How many episodes of
There are
this are
eight
there?
episodes,
Eight
and the first
episodes.
two drop on October 31st. So we're dropping two at the same time on October 31st, so that way you can binge them a little and really get to know the guys. And so
Yeah.
you'll get to watch two episodes back to back on October 31st, streaming on Hallmark Plus, which is Hallmark's new uh video on demand app. So
Yeah.
basically it's like a Netflix or like a Hulu. You go, you download it in your app store right on your TV, and then you just log in and create an account, and you'll be able to watch all the episodes of Finding Mr. Christmas plus so much more. Hallmark, from the groomsmen to all the other things they're putting on Hallmark Plus. It's just
And I
a
believe our friend
great
Danny
place to have.
Pellegrino has a Hallmark Plus holiday film coming out as well, I
He
believe. So
does. He's doing one with Wes Brown and Claiborne Elder. It's called like Holiday Fix Up or something. I don't know the name of it, but it's about guys building a house.
no, I mean, this is great. There are so many films that you guys probably have already watched, but if you haven't, Hallmark is the home of all of these. And I'll put all the information in the show notes. And as we wind down here, obviously, everybody fell in love with you on Mean Girls. And the power of that film to this day, does it shock you? I mean, you were starting off as an actor and all of a sudden you hit this cultural cornerstone pop culture movie. I mean, how do you view Mean Girls now?
I mean, Mean Girls is the best thing that ever happened to me. And if you're watching this Betches show right now, you're definitely a fan of Mean Girls because it is the movie of all movies that I can't explain, and I'm so grateful to be involved in. And it's like, yeah, I'll tell you the story of this. So when my dad was dying of brain cancer, I know we got deep, but when he was passing away of brain cancer a few years ago, we went to an Applebee's to eat dinner. And I kind of knew that this was going to be the last time we probably were able to get out of the house and have dinner together. And it was me and him, and we're sitting in Applebee's. And I got up to go to the bathroom, and when I was in the bathroom, the waitresses came over and like talked to him, and he was always trying to like, yeah, that's Jonathan. Like, go get a picture with him, sign an autograph. Like, he loved it because he was so proud of me, and he loved like the fandemonium behind Mean Girls, and he would always like, egg the girls on, like, yeah, take a photo with him because he thought it was so wonderful and he was so proud. And when I came back, he's like, John, take some photos. And we took photos with one of the girls, and she went back, to her station. And I kind of got mad at him. I was like, Dad, we're having dinner together. Like, because I was emotional because I knew this was our
Yeah.
last dinner together out of the house. And I was like, Dad, can you not, like, just for once, can we just like not talk about Mean Girls and do this? And then he looked at me and he pointed to the waitress station where the girl was. And she had tears coming down her face. She was shaking. She was so excited. She was like texting the photo to her friends. They were all just so giddy. And he just goes, when was the last time you saw someone that happy? And I go, shit, you're right. And from that point on, it changed my whole view on what Mean Girls is to people. Mean Girls, just like Hallmark Channel, is a part of their life. It's not just a movie. They speak it, they talk it, they dress up as it for Halloween. They love these characters and they love the story so much, and it brings them such joy that it was like game on. Anything Mean Girls, I'm happy to be involved in. I'm happy to talk about. I'm happy to celebrate all of you that love Mean Girls so much. And thank you so much for making my life better, because without Mean Girls, I would have none of this. So I owe my whole life to Mean Girls. And I I'm just so thankful to the Mean Girls fans that have supported it over the years and continue to support it.
So you'd be happy to do a sequel.
100%. I mean, the whole cast is in on doing a sequel. We're ready. It's just that's
um,
above my pay grade. That's a Tina Fey question, and I
Hey,
don't want to
listen,
field
I feel
questions
like
for Tina Fey.
you're the new Tina Fey of Hallmark.
Ah,
So I'm sorry.
no,
That is
no,
not
no,
above your
no.
pay grade.
Oh,
Jonathan, first off, thank you so much for sharing that story about your dad. And I
yeah.
just gotta say, we lost my mom to cancer about a year and a half
Oh,
ago, and she used to love these Hallmark films so
good.
she would be so jazzed that I was speaking with you today.
Aw,
But I gotta tell you, man, I don't know you at all, but man, I am proud of you because I know how much
thank
you
you.
had to work to get to this point, and you are just killing it, guys. I'm at a wedding right now in Charleston. The groomsmen trilogy I will be bringing up at the wedding.
Thank you.
Like
Just get on the
throwing
mic and
stories.
promote it so we get good
Yeah.
ratings. Thanks.
Hey guys, anybody heard
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
Hallmark Plus? Yeah,
You're
I'm
like,
gonna
well, this is a wedding, but if you want to see a
a
better
real.
wedding, head over to Hallmark Plus and watch The Groomsmen.
Jonathan Bennett, I think you mean so much to a lot of us.
Thank
So thank
you.
you so much for all of your time. Good luck with your presidential candidacy. We're very
Yes.
excited.
Vote for
Jonathan Bennett,
Jonathan. A vote for
20,
Jonathan is a vote for yourself.
folks, I'm going to put all the information in the show notes, and I will be on you to watch this. Finding Mr. Christmas, Groomsman Trilogy. Jonathan Bennett, I hope to talk to you again someday. You should be really proud of this work.
Thank
You are
you.
the Francis Ford Coppola of Hallmark Plus with the Groomsman Trilogy. Thanks, man, and good luck with everything.
Thanks, bud. You're wonderful.